while it's coming up, let me just introduce myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Johal. Just first of all want to thank Amy and everybody here for hosting this wonderful audience. The title of sort of my pitch is, and I didn't realize it was going to be a pitch, but it's essentially, there's a lot of talk about all this bad stuff going on, and we all sort of feel somewhat powerless. And if you think you're powerless, think about the, subsistence farmer in sub-Saharan Africa or India. And I actually was raised in India. And, we are actually much more powerful than we think we are. And I'm going to talk about that through the lens of a specific topic that I'm engaged in, which is the food information ecosystem. It turns out that 80% of fresh water and a lot of energy spent in making our food. And it's a very complex and very, very important ecosystem. So Agralogics is oriented towards bringing data about food for decision support across the entire supply chain. But that's what I'm going to talk about, more about the power of your choice. So, okay, there we go. My quick journey: grew up in India, went to MIT from undergrad and grad school, went to Silicon Valley, like many MIT nerds, and finally decided, enough of selling sneakers on the internet. I wanted to do something more consequential. So started Agralogics with the intention that, if you're buying sneakers on the internet, it's chasing you around the internet. But if you're trying to figure out how much water to apply to fields or what's in my food for better nutrition, it's just not available. It's not accessible. And that's just wrong. It should change, and it will. And it will change because of your choice, and that's the topic. So quickly, the food ecosystem is broken. There's a lot of stats here, but this is in the US. We have both tremendous hunger. So 1 in 4 children in the United States is hungry. And at the same time, 40% of our food goes to waste. And it's the largest emitter of methane to our single base of methane to our environment. So that's really a big problem. And it's not just in the US. This is a detailed infographic. You can read it later about India. Children in India are stunted. I mean, there's malnutrition that's rampant. And the food that is consumed is sometimes toxic. And there's a cancer train that runs in India that takes cancer patients because babies are born with high nitrate levels. It's just a complete mess. And so the world's food ecosystem, these are just 2 data points across geographies which are completely polar opposites on the planet, and I happen to be part of both of them. It's broken. And information technology and your and everybody else's decision power can change that. So what can we do? And so this is essentially the existential question that I want to have you go away with. And to ponder on that, I want you to ask yourself, what have we done before? On the left is a farmer, and on the right is a consumer. And the food supply chain essentially starts and ends with those 2 endpoints. Okay, somebody makes our food, somebody consumes our food, and everybody else is sort of in the business of making those 2 people successful. And what we have seen is an incredible effort, but somewhat boring effort, towards nutrition labels and other types of labels which consumers use to make decisions. Okay? And so what if we were to change that? And what have we done before with organics? Look at organic labels driving change. Organics is now the largest change, 12% CAGR compared to 2% CAGR on growth of food in the world. And 1.4 billion people are employed in agriculture in the world. That's 20% of the world's population. 20%. So if one food label change can drive that change across so many people's lifestyle, imagine what more can do. And these are all the volatilities in food prices, and the dots there explain global crises. Wherever there was global conflict, it's related somehow to food and water. And so this is all well documented, but it's an extremely important, not just food ecosystem, but social ecosystem of the whole world. And so I want you to sort of, imagine a journey. What if this entire system of making a choice and getting feedback was on demand? What if it was as easy as buying a pair of sneakers on Amazon? Turns out, it's already being done. And the idea here is that if you take this one step further and you say, what if when you went to a grocery store in the future, not very distant future, you went with a augmented reality headset and a web app that you could set your preferences that you want, corn syrup free and gluten free products. And if you did that on your virtual reality headset, you wouldn't see this shelf, you would see this shelf. And what you would see are products that are reds and greens. Reds are bad for you, greens are good for you. And you click on any one of those products on the grocery store shelf, you can learn everything about how much water was used to make them, all the things that you chose in your preferences that you cared about. There's going to be a terabyte of information captured that you're going to consume one bite of. And all of that is going to be in the palm of your decision. So essentially, the real question is, are we really ready to assert our power? This is the World Hunger Map, okay? The shaded areas are hunger stressed. And essentially, in the darker the shade, the more stressed they are. Green is not good, okay? And as it gets yellow and red, it's worse. So choice is going to be a fundamentally easier way to transform markets. And if there's any doubt, just think about the way organic foods was a bad word 10 years ago, and now is something that every grower and farmer aspires to do anywhere in the planet. Thank you very much.